I just want to say shout out to this black woman in this video and others like her who understand the truth and the fact of the matter that black men do love black women and that we are with you, and that you have a loud minority of black women that are out there that want to state otherwise. They don't want to go by facts. They don't want to go by actual statistics. They don't want to go by the things that are happening in other areas around the country, more so specifically in black areas, but they want to use, certain types of black men or black men that they are interested in that those black men aren't interested necessarily in them. And they want to use those few in order to justify the reasoning and say why it is that black men don't celebrate black women and why it is that black men don't love black women and why it is that black men, all of them, want to date out and be with everybody else but black women.
Y'all ready to tussle? Okay. I know. I think they do. I actually think they do. And I say that sitting here in a face full of makeup, lashes that are not mine, and a hair that is not mine. So keep that in mind when I say what I'm finna say. I think a lot of times we as black women have started doing things to modify ourselves to make ourselves feel better about our self-esteem based off of European standards as well as the black culture, because we have been prejudged so much within society. And when we started doing things to make ourselves feel better about ourselves, altering ourselves, and wearing fake lashes, wearing fake hair, wearing fake nails, and getting our body modified, black men just adapted to it. They just let us do what we want to do. Now, the biggest issue comes in with their preferences. Whether they prefer a certain skin tone, whether they prefer a petite woman, a bigger woman, a taller woman, a shorter woman. That's where women get very insecure about what they look like, because those are things that we can't fix aside from weight. Another thing is, I think that sometimes with some of these men, the ones that we actually are attracted to, they don't practice what they preach when it comes to saying, oh, I don't like this type of woman, but yet and still they do give attention to certain type of women. Women with modified bodies, I hear a lot of times men say they don't like that. But then I see some other men that are very much so praising the big butts, the slender waist, and don't care if it's real, don't care if it's fake. And I think that's where the issue comes in. Sometimes we cannot distinguish between the two. Some of the men that are actually in support of that, and some of the men that are not, when it comes to us modifying ourselves. But overall, I think that they...
So let's cover the main glaring thing that, usually you'll hear black women complaining about: a black man having a preference. The thing of this time with black men having a preference has been the most demonized and vilified thing that I've ever seen in my life. And I'm going to say it because of this. When I was growing up and I was interested in, some black girls, right? And I saw them directly in my school. And I would just sit up there. Before I decided to make a move, I would listen. I would take in the words that they were saying. I would look at the way that they move, and I would listen to the types of guys that they were either into or that they themselves described, right? And I would hear girls talking about, oh, they don't like guys with like large noses. They would say like, oh, this dude, like he looks, I would sit up there and, he could be a potential, but his nose or his hair or his skin complexion or his eye color or his height or his voice or the way he dresses, or, it would always be a preference of what they have, what they see, and what they would accept, right? That would be compared against that guy. And nobody pretty much had an issue or a problem with that. Now, if that guy just so happened to hurt that, like, he would still try to shoot a shot. I was like, yo, let me try to change your mind versus the stuff that you actually like. Let me let you get to know, me. Let me show you who I am, right? So this was throughout, you would hear this in middle school, you would hear this in high school, you would hear this in college, and then going out into the open world, you will still hear the exact same things, right? Women will always have their preference of the type of guys that they like, that they have. You'll always hear women talk about, oh, I want a guy that's like 6'7", 6'8". I want a guy that I can look up to. Mind you, this woman is about 4'9", 4'11", 5'2", 5'3", but you want somebody who is 6'7", 6'8", right? And then he has to be in the utmost shape. He has to be looking like Hercules and Adonis. He has to have this certain type of money. He has to smell this certain type of way. His hair has to be this certain type of way. His skin complexion have to be this certain type of way. Eye color this certain type of way. Like, they would still have all of these preferences, right? But the problem would come in is when a black man would decide that he has preferences too. It's like for the women who, who have weight. You would have a lot of guys that be like, yo, I don't want to, date or deal with a woman who is not in shape, who doesn't go to the gym, who doesn't play sports, and so on and so on and so on. And you would have women come out and be like, oh, that's body shaming. How could you not sit up there and accept women like that? What about your mom? So you're saying that you're not going to love your mom, or you're not going to love your aunt? They would always try to use black female family members in a way to try to justify the reason why a black man should, in a sense, be with them or pick them, because of the things that black man stated that he has a preference on, which makes no sense. Like, I'm not going to state to a woman like, oh, you don't like these type of men, so that must mean that you don't like your father, you don't like your uncle, you don't like your grandfather, you don't like your brother. Like, that don't make any sense. That's not somebody, your family members. You're not going to marry them. You're not going to get engaged to them. Those are not going to be your lifelong partners. You're not going to be creating kids. So why would I make a silly comparison into that realm? Right? It literally would make no type of sense. And then it will continue on with guys saying that they have maybe a preference in hair texture, or a preference in the shape of the body, or the preference of a voice, or whatever it is. The main thing is, everybody has a preference, and everybody has a right to that preference. Some people are vegan, some people like fish, some people are everything and whatever else, or some people just eat dirt. That is their preference. Nobody from any other section of that food realm should come into somebody else's preference and be like, yo, your preference is stupid, your preference sucks, you should basically be on this preference because it's the right preference, and what I say is right is what I say is right. That literally makes no type of sense. And she is correct. You do have men out there that will say like, yo, I'm not into this, and this, but then they'll end up seeing something that they like or that they deem to be attractive, even if it goes against what it is that they state. They're like, yo, she looks attractive, or this, that, and the third. But like I said before, that is that person's preference, and that is that person's viewpoint. My whole main thing is this: if black women have preferences and viewpoints that I've been hearing all of my life, and even still to this day, there is no reason at all why a black man cannot have a preference or a viewpoint in the type of black woman, or the type of woman in general, that he wants. It literally makes no sense. Now, touching on a little bit of the last part, right? She listed society, which black women are affected by immensely. Black women are bombarded with a lot of advertisements and a lot of different things, letting them know or telling them what beauty is. Not just their friends, not just their families, but they have the magazines, they got the celebrities, and so on and so on and so on. So you, in a sense, have black women not really understanding or acknowledging who they are, but yet following and emulating what the culture or what other people are doing and what they deem what beauty actually is. And then on top of that, she was further going to go back to the other main point, which she started off by saying yes, black men do celebrate. Black men do love us the way that we are. I can't tell you how many times that I've seen this in movies, I've seen this in television shows, I've seen this also in real life. And I've been one of those black men that have told black women, like, yo, I like your natural hair, like you look beautiful, da 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 da. And, certain times you would get mixed reactions, right? Someone be like, oh, thank you, XYZ. And then other women would probably, just like, oh, okay, thanks. Like it would be that type of thing. And like I said, it is what it is. Some people will acknowledge and like the fact that men love them and like them in their natural state, and other women, due to the fact that they don't necessarily love themselves, have enough knowledge of self, don't even have love of self, don't even respect or value, because they don't have any of those things. If you decide to give them a compliment, they're going to see that as some type of attack. They're going to see it as sarcasm. They're going to see it as quote unquote unwarranted. Who told you to say this? I didn't act. Like it'll go into that whole type of realm, which it doesn't even need to go into. But when you have an understanding of who people are and where they are, both socially and mentally, you'll grow to understand that you, the person trying to uplift and show some love to those individuals, you're not the problem. It's them, right? And that's the main thing that people have to go through with life and understand. But like I said before, black men have always I'm sorry, I said always, but black men have always loved black women no matter what state that they're in. And what she also stated is true. She was like, black women were basically allowed to do what it is that they wanted to do with their bodies and their hair, and black men just accepted it, which is a fact. So that goes against the whole narrative that you'll hear some women say that, oh, black men are always trying to control us and do this and that and all this other. No, it's not. If you want to modify your body, we'll be against it, because we understand the dangers and the potentiality of what can happen, because we don't want you to lose your life just to try to fit some type of fictitious imagery of what beauty is, aka the Kardashians. The Kardashians and a lot of these other individuals who are not black, they're copying the natural figures of black women. But then you have black women out here trying to almost take their own lives, just trying to emulate the body frames of other women who are emulating you. Like I said, that makes no sense. It literally makes zero sense. And I'm just trying to understand, why is it that you don't have a lot of black women understanding? You are the foundation. You are the blueprint, the first of the first, but yet you're trying to risk your life and you're throwing away all of your money to emulate somebody who is emulating you. Like I told people before, it's very interesting how other groups of women, in a sense, have more love, in a sense, or acknowledge more, right? The beauty and the shape and the natural aspects of black women versus what black women actually do for themselves and their own group. So, maybe, like I said before, maybe one day black women will wake up and they'll see exactly what it is, and they'll decide to change it. And as I've stated to women before, if you want a certain type of guy, or if you want men or whatever it is to shape up or to stand up in line or whatever, what have you, then you yourself need to dictate the types of guys that you will actually accept, because men can only show up the way that you allow them to show up. Just like originally in church, it wasn't, in a sense, well, in this day and age, going back to like the 90s, it wasn't in a sense come as you are. It's like, yo, come up in a suit, don't come in street clothes, gym shoes. It was almost a dress code in church. But then once they started to realize, like, yo, we're losing a lot of people, we're not able to, get a lot of people in here, then it was come as you are. So black women have to be the ones to dictate what it is that's going to take place. Black women dictated that, hey, we're going to go out here and get surgeries because we see that a few of the guys that we might be interested in that aren't even interested in us are looking at these types of body types. So we're going to emulate this so that we can get those guys who aren't interested in us at all to basically look over here. right? So it's a game of like cat and mouse. It's a race, which it doesn't need to be a race. If you were always in first place, why are you trying to be in first place while trying to battle last? That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.